Hi guys, welcome to this week's New Music Monday playlist. This week, 1 week only, on a Tuesday, because I was busy having fun over the weekend on Monday for my dad's 60th birthday. Some of you might have seen the picture of the terrace and the hot tub that we had. So it was a little bit delayed, so apologies. But we're right back to it today. So I'm just going to quickly explain the new format that I'm going to use. I previously posted the video on Facebook and then thought about actually posting it on YouTube. So what I'm going to do is the video itself will go onto the YouTube account and there'll be a link in the post each week, and the playlist will now be available on Spotify, Deezer, and as a YouTube playlist, and I'll link all three of those separately in there as well, so you can choose the format that you listen to the playlist on, and hopefully that opens up a few more options for you all, so you can get involved, and as always, comment on what you think the best track was, what new music have I missed, what are you listening to, and let's get a little conversation going between everyone about new music, because as I was saying, and as I've always said, your favourite band were new music at one point, so let's really there's some great talent out there, so let's really make sure that they're getting the exposure that they deserve. So straight into it, I think 12 tracks this week, I think that's right. Some bands you'll have heard of, and some that you hopefully haven't, and the album covers will pop up, or the single covers will pop up just up there. So we're going to start with 21 Pilots. I imagine most of you will have heard of 21 Pilots. Had success with their 2016 album Blurry Face, which had Ride, Lame Boy, and Stressed Out on. It's a great album as well, and obviously did a track for the Suicide Squad soundtrack as well. So they're back with a brand new. I think the album's due out soon, and the two tracks that I've heard are Jumpsuit and Nico and the Diamonds, I think it's called. But Jumpsuit is the one that I've put onto this soundtrack, this playlist today. So a two-piece, creating some great music. A lot of two-pieces about at the moment, but they're doing great work. It's got a real kind of, the riff has a real kind of dirty, grungy sound to it. And then the lyrics, as always, are really, really strong. And they just talk about social anxiety. So yeah, great track from 21 Pilots, Jumpsuit. Next up, we've got Sam Henshaw with a track called Broke. He's a British rapper. So great to get some British talent in there. There's quite a few British artists in this week as well. So great to get some British talent in there. He's got a real happy kind of hip-hop vibe. This particular track, although the lyrics talk about things going wrong and him being broken and not having any money, but he's got a real happy. The music has got a real sort of upbeat, happy vibe. It reminds me a bit of Chance the Rapper. It's got that kind of feel to it. That's a great track. And next up, Soulfly. If you haven't heard of Soulfly, the main protagonist in the band is the ex-singer and guitarist from Sepultura, Max Cavalera. And he started Soulfly back in '98, so they've been around a while, and Sepultura obviously been around a while before that as well. The track called Evil Empowered, it isn't really as fresh as some of the other Soulfly, some of the earlier Soulfly stuff certainly. And then I really enjoyed Savages when that came out as well. This doesn't feel as fresh as that, but they're still making great heavy music. And if you liked what Sepultura were doing and what Soulfly are doing, then check it out. But really, I put it in there just to kind of mix it up. But it's their brand new track, so definitely go and check that out. Next up, another British band, another two-piece as well. Slaves got a new track out, Chokehold. So if you don't know who Slaves are, they're basically a punky two-piece. They're when they first came out, they were, the first album that they brought out was I thought, again, really fresh. It was something a little bit different. It had a real punky vibe, stripped down, pretty basic stuff. This feels a little less edgy, this track, but it's still good. They're still doing some great stuff, and they're probably just experimenting a little bit with new sounds and new ways of making music, which bands absolutely should do. So Slaves, Chokehold. Then we've got Dan Lancaster. Track's called Move a Mountain. Now, it's an electronic track. Reminds me of Justin Timberlake. It had a feel of a Justin Timberlake sound to it in the verses, and then it kind of moves into more of a sort of an indie sound. But it's a male vocal, but it reminds me of the kind of stuff that churches are doing at the moment. It has that kind of sound, but with the male vocal. So Dan Lancaster, Move a Mountain. And then this band just popped up today, actually. All Them Witches, and the track's called Fish Belly 86 Onions. Weird name. They're a Nashville four-piece. But basically, they just reminded me that from the off, I thought that sounds like Queens of the Stone Age. That sounds like a Josh Homme riff or guitar sound, with keyboards via the Doors. So there's a heavy keyboards in the track, and it's got a real feel of Ray Mazurek, who played keyboard for the Doors. So that's an interesting combination. And it's a really cool track. So that's All Them Witches, Fish Belly 86 Onions is the name of the track. Then we've got a Lancaster band. So Lancaster's my hometown, and there's some great talent there. There's some fantastic talent. Early on in the first couple of weeks, we had Massive Wagons, who have just hit number 12 on the chart, the album chart, with their new album, Full Nelson. They've been trying to be the first band to hit top 40 with an album, the first Lancaster band. And they've absolutely smashed that. You've gone in at number 12 on the pre-orders. And I think it was just released this week, so fantastic work from them. Congratulations to those. But this band, Lancaster band, a couple of friends in the band, and they came together pretty recently. They did a little bit of promo, some sort of teaser kind of stuff to say, look, this is happening. A couple of shots of rehearsals, and then out of nowhere, they just released this track. So the band are called Passengers, the track's called Boundaries, and it's superb. Electronic metal is kind of the overall genre, I guess. It's a heavy track, so it's kind of got a metalcore feel, Deftones vibe through the music and through the vocal. The vocal has that kind of mixture of a light chino vocal sound, with some heaviness in there. Like I say, there's a bit of a metalcore sound as well. The opening riff as well leads well. It sounds like Linkin Park. There's a Linkin Park kind of vibe to the opening riff, but it's a great track. You should definitely check out Passengers. The track's called Boundaries. So that's their first track. I imagine there's an album coming, and I imagine there'll be some live dates coming as well. They're definitely one to check out. Next up, and again, I put this in this week. Same as the Soulfly one. Didn't think it was a particularly brilliant track, but again, I'm just putting it in there because I just wanted to show a bit of variety and also, maybe introduce you people to something a bit different. So the band are called From First to Last. The track's called Surrender. Now, From First to Last, they're an old kind of post-hardcore band from sort of early 2000s, and their singer, a guy called Sonny, became Skrillex. So he left that band, and they've now released their first track with him, Sonny Moore, I think his surname is. They've released their first track with him for quite some time, since 2002, I think. So this is Skrillex before he was Skrillex, and they've now released something fresh called Surrender. To be fair, it doesn't feel like it's moved on much from the post-hardcore stuff they were doing in 2000. But it's worth a listen, and if it only introduces you to the fact that Skrillex wasn't always Skrillex, then great. That's what I'm trying to do with that. But check it out, and then maybe go back and check out some of their older stuff. The Offspring have a new track out. They don't need any introduction, really. The Offspring track is called Down, and it just goes back to, it sounds a bit more like Smash, so it sounds a bit less poppy than Americana. Americana's a great album, and I love it. I think it's superb, but I prefer Smash, only because it's a bit edgier, it's more punky, so everyone knows who the Offspring are, but if you want something a little bit edgier and going back to kind of their earlier stuff, then check this out. It's 2.5 minutes of just pure fast punk, and it's great. Next up, a local artist from Newcastle, Holly Rees. Holly Rees, I've been to see live, and we played an Oxjam event together as well last year. So that's where we met, and she's made a great success actually. She's released 2 EPs. Ilex was released last year, and Slow Down is the new EP that's just been released. Now the track I've taken off that and put on the playlist is it's called Missing Out. Just really honest songwriting. She's got a great voice, nice and mellow. It's got a nice chilled out feel, nice chilled out vibe. But the songwriting is just really honest. Lyrics are great, and her new EP has gone in at number 14 on the iTunes charts. So a great success considering this is the second EP released quite close together. Within a few months of each other, and she's out on tour at the moment with another local artist called Matt Dunbar. They've been in Newcastle on the 11th. They've been in York, Leeds, and they're heading. I can't remember where else they're heading, but they're heading back to Northumberland and playing Morpeth in a week or two. So you should check out the live dates if you can catch Holly Rees. But her track Missing Out is on the playlist. Next up, a band called Mammal. And again, these just dropped in this week. Just came up on my radar. The track's called Dead, and they're Australian. They're an Australian band. I never heard of them before, but they've been around since 2006. Pretty heavy track. Great vocal, but it sounds a little bit fresh. Although it's heavy and it's got that metal vibe, it does sound like something I haven't quite heard before. There's a bit of a mix of stuff in there, so give that a check out because these are great. But yeah, like I say, been around since 2006, and it's the first I've heard of them. You guys might have heard of them, so let me know if there's any other tracks or albums I should check out by Mammal. But their new track Dead is on the playlist. 2 more tracks to go then. So second to last is a band called Brutus, and the track's called Everybody Loves You When You're Gone. These guys are from Belgium, and the track's pretty melancholic, really. It's really atmospheric. There's kind of a slightly dirty riff in there, but it's kind of spaced out, and you can just feel the melancholy and almost the anxiety in the track. But again, as soon as I heard it, it felt fresh. I was like, yeah, usually with these songs, I know within, the first 20 seconds, 15 seconds, I'm hearing something, I'm like, yeah. Even sooner sometimes, I'm hearing it, I'm going, yeah, I like that, So it was definitely the case with Brutus. So guys from Belgium, Everybody Loves You When You're Gone is the name of the track. And then finally, the last band are called Gunship. The track is called Dark All Day. And these are a synth wave band. Great, again, just came on the radar this week and never heard of them before. This particular track has got a real nice saxophone on it. and it feels like it belongs on the Lost Boys soundtrack. And I think that because that's got that saxophone track on, and when they're at the live concert in the film, the guy's playing the sax, the song's on, and he's playing the sax at the front, the guy with his shirt off and he's the long hair, big muscly guy. But I think that's what it reminds me of. So this has got some real nice saxophone working. It's got a dark vibe, the track, so it reminds me of kind of the dark 80s synth stuff. But they are heavily influenced by the 80s. And there's an earlier track from 2016 called Tech Noir, which has a video. So it's a claymation video, like stop motion. I think they call it stop motion. I think that's what it's called. Claymation video. I think I've got that completely wrong, but it's little clay figures, and it's great because it's all 80s influence. It's got like little videotapes in it, and this little guy gets his power from having a slot where he puts the videos, and he becomes whatever's on the video. So it's got RoboCop in it. It's got Jason from Friday the 13th. So these guys are definitely massively, heavily influenced by the 80s, but it's a great track if you like that. So check out Gunship and Dark All Day. So hopefully I've introduced you to some new music and some new bands there. What I'd love is for you guys to talk to me and each other about the sounds that you're hearing, about the playlist. Let me know what was good, what was bad, and what are you listening to? What am I missing? Because there's plenty of new music out there. I can't be catching it all. There's no way. But definitely let me know. Definitely comment down below. As I say, the new format will be the video will be uploaded onto my YouTube channel, and the links will be posted everywhere else to drive you all to YouTube. So it's all in one place. The actual playlist itself will be available on Spotify, on Deezer, and as a YouTube playlist with the videos. Sometimes the videos aren't available, so YouTube finds another video from that artist. So it may be that the videos on YouTube, that playlist, doesn't match up with the songs I've gone through there, but generally they'll find another video from that artist. So that's the new format. Share it about, tell your friends, anyone that's interested in new music, that wants to listen to new music, let them know this exists. It takes the hard work out of them trying to find new music, and if we all get talking about it, then there'll be more recommendations, other than just what I'm listening to. Also, if you're in a band, and you want to send me your music, if there's something, that you're currently working on, something you've released, you want it to feature in the playlist, you want me to talk about it, we can add it in and send it out. So, I hope you enjoyed this week's playlist, guys. Comment below, share it about, let people know that it exists, and let's get talking about new music. And I'll see you next week for another playlist. Take care, guys.